Hey guys, welcome to another Visual Basic lesson. This is Eddie the Magic Monk. Today we're going to learn a little bit more about Visual Basic as well as a bit of maths. So what you need to be able to do already in Visual Basic is when you click the generate button on your program from the last tutorial, you should be able to generate a list of numbers from 1 to 20 using the for loop. So if you're not sure how to do that, make sure you go back to the last tutorial and just confirm that you understand what the for loop does. So today, before we generate our list of numbers, we just want to briefly talk about what is an arithmetic sequence. So an arithmetic sequence is basically a list of numbers. So for example, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. This is an arithmetic sequence. It's basically a list of numbers that is increasing by the same amount each time. So you can see that it's increasing by 2 each time. So let me give you another sequence. Let's say 1, 7, 13, 19. And you can see that it's increasing by 6 each time. So this is also an arithmetic sequence. Now another feature of the arithmetic sequence is that the first term doesn't have to be 1. So for example, you can start at 6. Let's make it 6, 10, 14, 18. So it's going up by 4s. So this is also an arithmetic sequence. So what is the general formula for an arithmetic sequence? Well, let's have a look at the sequence here. Basically, we have the first term is 6, the second term is 10, the third term is 14, and the fourth term is 8. So let's make a formula for the nth term. Alright, so basically n is a variable for how many terms we're going to have. So the nth term, so let's say x n, so the nth term is going to be the first term plus we're gonna make up another variable called d, which is the common difference. So d is the common difference, which represents this number here is d. D times n minus 1. So you might say, what does that mean? Well, for example, let's have a look at our terms. So let's have a look at our sequence that we've just made. So n is the number of terms, is the number assigned to the term. So x is the actual term. So our first term was 6, so I'm going to put that here. Our second term was 10. Our third term is 14. Now let's use the formula here to figure out our fourth term instead of just adding 4. So the fourth term, x4, is going to be x1, which is 6, plus d, in this case D is 4 because it's increasing by 4 each time. So D is equal to 4. 4 times n minus 1, so 4 minus 1. Alright, so the fourth term is going to be x1, which is 6, plus 4 times 3, which is 6 plus 12, which is 18. And is it 18? Yes. Okay, so now that we have the formula correct, what we're going to do is program this formula in Visual Basic so that this button here will be able to generate an arithmetic sequence. So actually, let's put up a title here for arithmetic sequence generator. So that's going to be our program. Arithmetic sequence generator. Make the title a bit bigger. Okay, so we got the button that says generate. And you can see our formula. We need two things. We need x1, which is the first term, and we also need D, which is the common difference. So we need the first term, so let's put that label down. Label, it's gonna say first term, and let's make it a bit bigger. So make it font size 10. And I'm also gonna have another label for the common difference, and again make it a bit bigger, size 10. And I'm also gonna have two text boxes that allows the user to enter the enter the numbers into the boxes. Okay, so the first text box, we're just gonna call it first text box, and the second text box I'm gonna call it common difference text box, CD text box. Okay, so basically what I want to do now is when I click generate, it's gonna take into account the first term and the common difference we want and generate the sequence, an arithmetic sequence based on the first term and the common difference. So let's have a look at the formula again. So basically we're going to program this formula here into our program. So the first thing we need is we're going to declare some variables. We want a new variable called first term as integer, and let's just make it 0 to start with. And we also need the common difference as integer as well, and we're going to make it 0 to start with. Okay, so what's going to happen now is when we click the generate button, what's going to happen is it's going to put whatever is in our text box. So it's the first text box. It's going to put the contents of that into our first term variable. Okay, so it's going to basically put whatever is in that text box into our variable, and it's going to do the same thing for the common difference text box. So now that they're in our variables, what I want to do is use the formula. So what does the formula say? The formula says the nth term, so common difference, actually I'm going to call it number. The number that's generated is equal to the first term. So I'm looking at this formula here. The number that is generated is equal to the first term plus the common difference. The common difference times n minus 1 times n minus 1. What is n? Well, if you think of the for loop, k is actually the same thing as n because we have our first term to start off, so n is 1, and then our second term n is 2, and so on. So we can actually substitute n with k, so it's just k minus 1. And so if you try this program now, what's going to happen is you run the program, and let's say we want the first term, so we already have a sequence here, 6, 10, 14, 18, so the first term is 6 and the common difference is 4. So let's see if that generates. So the first term is 6 and the common difference is 4, and let's click generate. So it's got 6, 10, 14, 18, 22, and so on. Alright. So actually, let's make it one step further and say that we want to also get the user to decide how many terms we want to generate. So number of terms. So make that size 10 as well. And text box. So let's say we want to generate, so I'm going to call it number of terms. So terms text box. Okay, so let's say I want to generate dimension terms as integer. So I'm going to put terms equals, what was the text box called? Terms text box. Terms text box dot text. So I'm putting the contents of the term text box into the terms variable, and then what I want to do now is for k equals 1 to terms. Alright, so the user is now deciding how many times I'm going to run this instruction, how many iterations. So let's say I want 6 is the first term, common difference is 4, and I only want 4 terms, then it should only generate 4 numbers. See, it's only generated 4 numbers. Okay, thanks for watching a tutorial on the arithmetic sequence generator. Hope you learned some maths as well as programming out of this. See you again next time.